Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the show. It's Titus, Travis, and Talon today. We are going to do another, I don't know what the proper term we've been using. It's been the tips for mentors, but it's kind of good for beginners too, so I don't want to turn off any beginners to this episode. But
First,
I would like to say this episode is brought to you by Pattern Pack Ammo. And Travis, why don't you tell us about that?
Well, it's a phenomenal idea, and it's really cool because patterning your shotgun is very important. So what Pattern Pack allows you to do is select whatever shells you want from the major manufacturers, and they will customize it to you and put it in a box and ship it to you direct. And you can have whatever size shot you want, whatever length. And
pick the right ammo for your gun.
Pick the right ammo, and that way you don't have to buy 20 different boxes of 25 each, or 10 if you want to shoot the bismuth or tungsten, and they will deliver it directly to you. So
I got good news about California. He just texted me a couple days ago, and now we are in the green for California.
Sweet.
And that was all done through a lawyer. They got that all figured out. So if you're from California, I knew I got a lot of emails about that. Like, what are we going to do? He actually got it figured out way quicker than he expected. So great news. You guys can talk to them, contact them, and see what they've got worked out. I don't know all the details, but he definitely said they got it legal, and they're working on FFLs right now for
and the website
several different locations. PatternPackAmmo.com. Go check them out. And when you do order your box, whether you're in California, Alabama, New Jersey, Florida, wherever you're at, put in MVM at checkout, and you get 10% off your box. So that being said, also we want to say thank you to Old Town Canoe and Kayak. We thank them for their support. They're also doing a really big collaboration deal for us at the Flyways Collective, and I love that kayak. I love their gear. They have some other great ideas that just came out. You can actually put a motor on it because it's a flat back in the back, so you can mount a small motor to it and put a transom on there. So it's pretty slick.
Yeah, and I got to use it for the first time on that river hunt.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed.
Yeah. With tracks really good.
Track's awesome.
So that's all we got to say about that. We're going to jump right into this one. And excuse me for keep clearing my throat. I'm actually getting better, believe it or not.
Really, I'm just starting to get it. You know, my annual
Your
November
cough.
scratchy throat cough thing.
You're getting it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that. Dude, we get it every year.
I get it every year about this time.
That cold air in your throat.
A month and a half just feels like a little tickle right there. And feels like there's an eyelash stuck in my throat. And I cough and nothing happens. It just cough.
Yeah, it's a bad time to have that too because everybody gives you the...
Yeah, well, when you're talking to people, you know...
Evil eye.
And you start coughing and...
Yeah, COVID. I was asked twice if I had COVID. I'm like, come on, guys.
Would I be
I worked
here?
with you for the last month. Exactly. I never had a... So let's get in. And you know what's irritating? I haven't coughed once all day. As soon as we started this, now I'm starting to hack my lungs up.
I've coughed all day.
That's annoying. So I'm doing way better. But anyways, let's get into it. So how to be a good mentor and kind of how to work with a mentor if you're a newer duck hunter. If you don't have one, we're trying to give you tips and help. So this is the first one for this part 3 of this. It says, let's eat. So this is what it says. Every expert we interviewed, including Righam Wright, president owner Matthew Cagle, talked about the importance of ample food for first hunts. So this is not up my alley because I never bring food. I never eat very often unless it's super slow. And Travis has never offered me a Lunchable. So, but this is what it says. New hunters of all ages appreciate good food in the blind. Depending on the hunt, we try to provide good breakfast and lunch in the rig. I can say I've never honestly did that. We may whip up breakfast sandwiches in the galley. Listen to what he says, though. In the galley or on the boat blind. We do not have those luxuries of sweet setup blinds. I'm sorry, if you're new and you go hunting with us, you be lucky if you...
You might get some gummy bears or whatever the one
you might get gummy bears or maybe a Mountain Dew. But
and a Red Bull, that's about it.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you know.
Yeah, if you're lucky. If Travis is there, you might get a Lunchable.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Explain to us why, though, we don't really have that.
Well, I mean, like this season, there was one day I hunted all day long, I think. But yeah, I mean, we're refuge hunting. You know, we'll take a sled, our decoys, and I mean, I'm pretty much packed to the hilt.
And we're standing in water.
Yeah, it's not like I can whip out a table and whip you up a sandwich right there, or you know, and I'm not gonna wake up even earlier to make you breakfast burritos and wrap them in foil so they're hot for you.
Oh, come on, Josh. What kind of mentor is that?
But if we get done early enough, I mean, we could stop by the taco truck and
Yeah,
you know,
I'll
get
you
a
some.
asada supreme burrito and
California style Roach Coach, son.
right there. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't had a Roach Coach burrito, asada burrito, you got to come to California just for that. We call them Roach Coaches because, I mean, I've never actually seen a cockroach in there, but they call them Roach Coaches. That's just the name for them. And I guess some of them probably do have them in there. But I've never tasted one. I've got a few crunchy things in my burrito. But hey, that's protein.
That was probably bacon. Just pretend it was bacon.
I don't know.
You know what? What they are is they're mobile little pieces of heaven.
Yeah, you got this. So basically, you got this little truck, and typically there's people from Hispanic descent that work in there, and they offer burritos, tacos, tortas, and you can get asada, which is like, I don't know what asada. It's meat. It's beef. You can get lingua, right, which is
Tongue.
You can
Cabeza.
get
That's brains.
cabeza is brain.
Pastor.
Pastor is what?
Pork.
And then they got
Chicken.
polo, which is chicken, right?
Pollo.
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 Pollo. Okay,
Pollo.
I call it polo, like Marco Polo, but I guess that's wrong. But yeah, if you're ever in California,
Actually, you know, I take that back. Cabeza isn't brains.
what is
That's
it?
just the head meat, I believe. I don't want to. I know there's some
Okay.
I don't know. 'cause
guys
I don't
listening
order
that
it.
know that's not true. What is the brains one called? That's nasty.
I don't know.
I'll
I've
suggest
never
don't get
ordered
that.
it.
It's chocolate.
I have tasted the lingua, which is the tongue, and it's like really soft.
I like it.
It's not my
I like
not my
lingua.
thing.
Well, some of you guys are getting grossed out right now. If you come hunt with us, we will treat you to that, and we won't make you eat the brains or nothing like that.
Nah,
so,
we gotta try the asada. I mean, that's really good.
yeah. What's your favorite, Talon?
I like asada.
Sada, yeah.
But chicken at times. And then the one right there by M&A, they got good lingua. So good
They
lingua.
do. That's
lingua
the first time
tacos.
where I had them, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't ate LeGrand's. LeGrand is by far the best taco truck, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not near a refuge, so that's the only bummer. But no, I mean asada all the way though. Usually.
And speaking of food, while we're on the subject, the other day, Talon, she decided to cook some duck, and no offense, but it was better than yours,
It was good.
dude. It was
It was
awesome.
awesome.
And it was.
You've never had my good duck, though.
I've had it where he cooked it in the duck fat. That was good. And I don't know how she
have you?
did this, but it was
Just good flavoring.
Yeah, she
the flavor, and it was soft like lingua,
Mm.
like the tongue. It was very soft. I don't know how she got it so soft,
That's good.
She watched
but it was good.
she tried the method. So
Whew.
have you ever seen Gogu Foods
Mm-mm.
on YouTube? So he's like a big steak guy.
Mhm.
But what he does is called, I believe it's called dry brine, where
Uh-huh, yeah.
you have the rack and then you have the air where it could circulate around. And she
Mhm.
put salt on the duck, and I mean it was in there for a day and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and then she just seasoned it up with some steak rub and cooked it that way.
How'd she cook on the frying pan?
No, on the barbecuer. And
Okay.
I mean she only
Just did medium or what? Or she cooked it
yeah,
well
I mean it was cooked perfectly. I'm not for sure. I think it was more like a medium.
really good
Not-
though, huh?
Really good, dude.
It
I
was
mean, like
it was
awesome.
awesome. I couldn't believe it.
Isn't that nice though? Eating 'cause
Something
for years
yeah.
we always struggled with it. Like
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
I tried it different ways, and I just never could get the right flavor. And
Yeah.
I know I was overcooking it because it was like
Yeah.
chewing on
I cooked
a
some the other
old
day.
boot, but
It was
it was really good. I mean, no,
it's so easy to overcook.
It is very
It really
easy.
is.
yeah, this was actually slightly bloody in the middle, but it was perfect.
I made some for the guys at work. I duck hunted and went straight to work and breasted out that mallard. Any of you guys that follow us on Instagram, you've seen it. Everybody was like, man, that looks so good. It was incredible. I literally, out of 2 big mallard breasts, I got 2 little pieces, and I cut them into short slivers, and they ate the whole thing. And they're like, dude, this has no gamey taste. I can't believe how good this is. And it had a good layer of fat on it.
Yeah,
And I just did a medium. I almost overcooked it. It was just a little over medium, and I don't like that much, but it was so good, man.
yeah. No, I was really impressed.
But good news is, my goodness, his name just went blank out of my head. Hank Shaw's coming back on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
So if any of you guys haven't heard that episode, look for the one that says Hank Shaw on it. It's Never Cook Duck Wrong Again. I don't remember what episode, but you've got to go back and listen to that if you're new to the podcast. The guy you'll be drooling driving down the road listening to this episode, and you'll want to cook the duck. Like, you won't just throw it into jerky or whatever. You'll want to do some fancy stuff with it. And he also has a book too. But anyways, all right, let's move on to the next one. That's cool to hear. I'm going to have to tell Talon she's going to have to make that for me.
Yeah, she's going to have to cook some up for you.
The next one is Don't Fake It. I really like this one. I wouldn't have even thought of this myself. But the role of a mentor is to provide guidance and answers. But if your mentee comes up with a question you can't answer, don't fake it. Find out the right answer together. That's so true, because if you've been, don't you feel like you're always kind of learning as a duck hunter?
It's a constant learning experience. Little tweaks.
Yeah. Decoy. I mean, just everything.
Just
like
different things.
You can just always get better. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
But like, I could see to where somebody, just because you've been doing it for 20 years and this guy's he's on his first duck hunt, don't be too proud. Remind myself, don't be too proud to say, you know what, honestly, I don't really know. Like, I don't know. Let's find out. Let's look it up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that was a really good point, because I know a lot of people could just be like, make something up, and honestly, you're doing yourself a disservice or an injustice, and so to the person that's new, because they're going to take your word for whatever you say. They don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I could tell Robert or Michael or anybody, I could just make something up so random, and they would never know the difference till they learn later.
Yeah.
You know?
They'd have to figure it out down the road.
Yeah. So, which, if you're an honest person, you're not going to do that anyways. Just be honest with it and open. And I mean, because sometimes, like, duck ID, like that could be one of them. You don't want to, maybe some guys don't want to look like they don't know what it is. And the new guy's definitely not going to know, because I went out there with guys that everything's a mallard to them. Oh, there's a mallard. Or they go hunting by themselves. And I know some people, you know, they go out there by themselves, and I've never seen so many mallards. And I'm like thinking, there's not even mallards at that refuge. So I know you definitely weren't seeing mallards. And that's just part of being new. Is honestly, I struggled for a long time doing duck ID until I used to get so annoyed at you because you could see so far, until I finally realized you just have incredible eyesight. Plus, you're very good at bird ID, like really good. And I would always irritate me, because if I thought it was someone else and you would say this, I'm like, no way. I know. And now I know, like, I don't even question you. I mean, I know you could be wrong. He could be wrong sometimes. For the most part, he's not.
No, it's very, very, I mean, it's
ridiculous.
Very rare.
It's crazy.
It's stupid.
Yeah. And I don't.
Yeah, I have been blessed with you know, far vision. My close vision's going, but Talon, I mean, like, I don't think he can even read the stop sign.
No,
I mean, he did not inherit my eyes.
I put a lot of faith and trust in his idea, and especially to point out the jakes, because I mean, I can't see nothing anymore unless I have my glasses. But like at Delavan, I mean, I had to have you tell me which one was the drake, because I couldn't pick it out. I just was like, okay, he's like the front one, so I'd focus on the front one.
Well, I think what helped me with a lot of duck ID is a lot of observation, because growing up, as you know, where I grew up, there was some sewer ponds not over less than a quarter mile from my house, and they didn't always smell the greatest, but literally, I had a pair of binoculars, and I would say probably at least, I don't know, a couple 100 days a year, I was over there just bird watching.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that's all I did. I mean, that's what I did for fun. I mean, I didn't have, I didn't play video games. I didn't, you know, I mean, I played some sports, but that's not what I did all the time. So, you know, after school, I'd take my BB pellet gun, and there was a canal over there, and I would just go over there and walk over there and terrorize the local wildlife, ground squirrels and jackrabbits. And I'm always had a pair of binoculars with me, and I would search the sewer ponds for, you know, ducks. There was a lot of cans out there, mallards. Only saw one pair of pintails my whole life out there. Really? But cinnamon teal, I mean, literally, this thing was so close to our house that when I was a kid, before the housing development started around us, I remember playing football in the street with kids in the neighborhood, and cinnamon teal be flying down the road as low as the stoplights. They'd come down the road. And so yeah, I did a lot of observation and seen a lot of birds, and so I think that helped me with the ID.
And that's what's cool about having a good mentor such as yourself, is you bird IDing them in flight, and me starting to build up that picture, that side picture memory. You're like, okay, that's what that cinnamon tail looks like in flight. That's what a pintail looks like in flight. I remember, I can remember back and you say, yeah, see the elongated neck, for the pintail. And,
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes you couldn't see the pin, but if you could just tell the neck and the way they flap their wings and oh, that's a mallard. Look how they do this and that. And it's like, everything goes right in the memory bank and you start, okay. But it takes a long time because over and over and over and over, you got to have that repetition.
Yeah.
And that's what helps you. I mean, obviously, if they're 40 yards and the sun's on them, it's very easy. I'm talking about when they're 200 yards away and it's an overcast day and they look like a black silhouette.
Or first thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And even then, that's hard.
I mean, when you first took me out, I mean, for 2 or 3 years, I was a non-shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So watching them do that, I mean, it took me a good 2 years to even learn how to even start telling what they were. But I think that was definitely a big key and
it helped you learn faster.
Helped me learn way faster.
Whereas a guy that goes out there by himself that's never had a mentor, it could take years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said too, growing up, some people probably think this is really crazy, but growing up, we never had a TV in our home. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I was a teenager that we even had videos in our home. There was no YouTube back then. Mm-hmm. So literally, I would just pour over magazines and, like I said, going out there and you'll get books about ducks, and that was my life. I mean, and so, yeah, seeing photos of stuff, and being able to tell what stuff is, that really helped. And for new people, I'm saying, a lot of times, like you said, they don't know. So like we talked about before, going out to the refuge and going on the waterfowl tour route with a pair of binoculars, maybe just getting you a guide if you're really new. They have these little guides that tell you what kind of ducks these are, and that's a good way.
Those are
especially
good.
If there's a local refuge and you can
I have one of those books.
Yeah, you can go around, just drive around with a pair of binoculars.
Yeah, so if you don't have a mentor, don't get disgruntled. Don't feel discouraged because if you spend enough time, like you're saying with binoculars, because you really didn't either. I mean, you went with your Uncle Randy, but you were just so passionate about it that you spent a lot of time studying it, and that's probably how you got really good at it too.
I think so.
Yeah, you still do that all the time. You're naming off all these birds that we don't even have here. Like, look at that. That's that. You know every name of every type of duck
bird
there
in
is.
the world.
Yeah, even other birds that aren't even waterfowl. So it's pretty cool. So, all right, here's a huge one. You'll touch on it fast because it's plain and simple, but it's super important. Is safety on? It says no matter where you're hunting, a safety review is always important. In the excitement of anticipation, it calms and focuses everyone. Throughout the hunt, double-check safeties are on and reinforce safety procedures. Make sure everyone knows who will call the shot, safe shooting zones, and what to do when birds are retrieved. So all of those...
Yeah, I probably drove my kids nuts when we first started hunting because I'd always ask them, "Is your safety on?"
Did you harp on that quite a bit?
I did, yeah. And I mean, growing up, like I always had, like I talked about, I had a BB gun when I was like 5 years old, and I mean, I grew up with guns, and my kids, they grew up with guns their whole life since they were
5, 6.
5. Yeah, they had BB guns, and they probably even had 22s, but yeah, just safety, treat every gun like it's loaded, that sort of thing. And it's like they say, it's the empty gun that always kills somebody. Mm-hmm. And you can never be too safety minded or cautious about guns. I mean, like I'm even still paranoid about now. Like when I'm walking back from a hunt, I make sure my action's open. Mm. It's just habit, I guess, I've gotten into. Mm. And if I'm carrying somebody else's gun, sometimes like if Talon's pushing the cart, I'll make sure that his is open.
Yeah, double check.
And then I always ask him. I mean, he's almost 20 years old, and I ask him all the time, "Hey, is your gun unloaded?" It's just being conscious.
It's good practice.
Being conscious of it.
Well, that's the thing. It's not that you're not trusting somebody. I've seen people with me that I've said something to, and they get a little bit offended about it. And I'm like, man, I wouldn't get offended if you asked me that. In fact, when you do that, I'll double check. And I've actually been around some accidents, some accidental.
Yeah, you told me that you did. We talked about it before. You said that you was around somebody that was an actual accidental discharge.
Yeah,
that was a freaky dude. I went off on that person.
No, safety's because even as a guide for clients, a lot of times we'll our most important thing is to double check the rifle every time we put it in the scabbard. I mean, this year I had a client actually. I go, "Was your gun unloaded?" He's like, "Yeah, it's unloaded." I'm like, "I'm just gonna double check it in case." I mean, I opened the bolt when it was sitting right there in the pipe. So it's just thank you for instilling that safety, because it's just like it's always in the back of your mind. Just make sure.
I mean,
So-
it only takes one bullet to change your life and somebody else's life forever.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. Again, going back to what you said, and I fly for a local air ambulance company just as the pilot. I don't do none of the medical stuff in the back. But I'll tell you from experience of picking patients up, I have picked people up that have been shot, complete accidents. And to verify what we're saying about you saying always treat a gun as loaded. Because another thing it bugs me so bad, and it might have get people irritated at me. It's like, just because your action's open and your gun is confirmed that it's empty, you still don't let it swing over people or dogs or anybody.
Yeah.
Because you don't, just don't do it.
It's a good
If
habit
you
to get
avoid
to.
it-
Always treat every gun like it's loaded. And going back to
Well,
that.
let me tell the story though. So this is what happened. This guy, him and his buddy, two good friends, were walking down a trail hunting. We picked him up, and I'll tell you what happened. I'll be graphic about it. They were walking down one in front of the other down a trail. The guy said his gun was on safety, and I honestly believe him, because you can still have a discharge if your gun's on safety if it hits hard enough. He tripped. He knew his gun was loaded, but he knew it was on safety. He tripped. He fell forward, dropped the gun. The gun went off and shot the guy right in the between the legs and blew him off.
Oh.
He about bled out to death out there in the mountains.
that's
We picked him up
horrible.
in the mountains, flew him back, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what the end results of that
Wow.
was, but he about bled out. His buddy dropped a gun that was on safe, and it discharged him and blew a guy's junk off.
Ouch.
So go tell what you were gonna say. Sorry, to cut you. I just wanted to finish.
No,
that.
no, it's cool. No,
You know.
mine is not that graphic or anything. But growing up as a kid, we played cowboys and Indians, cops and robbers, but I was never allowed to even point a toy gun at somebody.
Right.
I could point my finger at
I
them,
wasn't either.
but as far as like having fake, back in the day, you could buy cat pistols and
Yeah.
all these really cool looking guns that now you got orange stuff all over them and they look like pieces of plastic and junk, but ours looked real. And I could never even point that at somebody and play.
Which I must not listen very well, because I wasn't allowed to do that. But then I've had lots of BB gun fights, so I don't know.
I have
where
had paintball
the
gun fights.
fall off
And
was.
so you know what the dentist that I used to work for when I was a dental hygienist, we played some paintball, and he was very, very safety conscious with paintball guns.
when you're
And
just
it was
around.
great. Yeah, he didn't. You had to have the barrel sleeve over the gun. Never have your finger on the trigger. Even paintball, you know what I'm saying? Because they could be just as deadly as a gun if you hit somebody in the eye or the temple or something like that. And so he really practiced the safety thing, and I really appreciated that. It was good to see that somebody else was really safety conscious.
Yeah.
It's just a good habit to get into.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's do one more. The next one is pay attention. New hunters thrive on positive attention. If your other hunting companions agree to focus on making the trip fun for the newcomer, it's okay to hunt as part of a group. Your main focus should be on helping the new hunter enjoy the experience. If that means you don't uncase your gun, all right. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I know what Travis is already thinking. No, but for reals though, that depends too on the age and the situation. So I'm not laughing saying we're being greedy and we won't let people shoot. But it says, or at least don't shoot. Well, that's being a good mentor. I was kind of thinking this a little different way though. I mean, that's part of it too. Like if you're taking a young hunter out or whatever, and I said that the other time, you really need to spend time with that person, hunting with them and stuff. But as far as paying attention and stuff, you do. If you're going to take someone new out there, you do kind of got to focus on them and pay attention to them and see how their spirits are too, because, and I know it's hard to compare two different groups here. If you got a 10-year-old kid or you got a 30-year-old guy, your sensitivity ain't going to be there as much for the 30-year-old, obviously, as the 10-year-old. The kid's cold. If you take him out in the middle of winter and they're freezing the rear end off. I mean, you do got to pay attention. Now, if you're 30 and you're telling me your little fingers are cold, I don't know how much sensitivity I'm going to have at you. But I think you just do got to pay attention to that new hunter and kind of, you know.
And I think I was always harder on my kids.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm sure there was days at Talon's like, they would be like, I'm ready to go home, you know? And I'm like, no, just one more hour or whatever.
I've heard 1 more hour so many times.
But
you can't help it when you
I totally
just like as a little kid you're just sitting there and you're like, okay, this is cold, fingers hurt, I'm tired, and then you're just like, I'm ready to go home. But no, sitting there, I mean, 1 more hour, I enjoyed it though. No, even though you were rough sometimes, it was still fun.
Yeah, I guess because you want your kids to be tough, you know. And
is it that, Travis, or are you just greedy because you want to stay another hour?
No, I mean,
you just stayed another hour just to train your kids.
No, it wasn't always about a learning experience.
No, I know, I'm just teasing.
But, yeah, I mean, yeah, you need to pay whoever you're with attention, and you know it's okay if they shoot the birds and I don't.
Oh, in all reality, we have talked about that, and how awesome was that with like Caleb shooting that? Like that didn't bother none of us.
I wish he would have shot the whole thing, but he wanted the video. I wish he would have shot the whole time, you know, or whatever, because that was a really fun and neat experience. And the only time I think I didn't probably exemplify patience or, you know, probably good practices is when Colton started hunting on junior hunts, and then Talon, and then I mean.
There wasn't very much patience.
I'd be like, how did you miss? You know, like, you guys shoot horrible.
There was a lot of yelling.
Lots of screaming on junior hunts.
But that was the only time I really probably just like really, you know, and I think it's because I couldn't shoot.
But the way you've hunted with him enough, I don't think it really emotionally hurt you guys.
No,
like,
not at all.
Are you scarred?
No.
Are you scarred?
Because there's a difference between someone's legitimately mad at you, you know?
No,
I've never been mad. I've never been mad.
No, but he's always since
just running his mouth talking trash.
Since we started shooting, me and Colton, I mean, he's always trash talked us.
Yeah.
I mean, like our first hunt, we'd miss a bird. He's like, "How do you miss that?" It's like
I've heard that many times.
We've got plenty of trash talking.
But I don't know. I think that comes from more too and maybe I don't know. Everybody has different parenting styles or whatever. But I always wanted my kids to feel like they had a friend out there, you know what I'm saying? Not somebody that's just like, you know, it's our time to get away and just be, I'm still your dad, but I'm your friend too. And just, you know, I'm going to razz you. I'm going to, you know, make you feel like you know, you're with me and you're not like, hey, you don't know what you're doing or whatever. But I, you know, just razz them to have fun and be there for them.
Yeah.
And, you know, I razz you guys and you guys razz me.
That's just
but you know what I have noticed, though, as I've gotten older, I'm getting more razzing than before.
It's coming back to bite you.
All sides. I mean, guys I thought were my close friends, you know, people I confided in. I get razzed by everybody now.
Yeah, it's come back to bite you.
I mean, it's just
you see what you started. You started out with a couple people, and now you're getting razzed by like 10 and 12 people. You don't even have a chance. Poor guy.
Yeah.
I need to start taking your. What kind of friend am I?
If it was the truth, if everything was the truth, it wouldn't be as bad. But I mean, these are absolutely like
false lies.
They're like Joe Biden lies.
That is straight up lies.
These are Bidenish lies. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap this up here. We still got a ton more to cover. We'll probably have 2 or 3 more episodes on this. But thank you guys for being patient. Some people probably mad at me like, what in the world? Because I release every Monday and Thursday, and this week I didn't do it till Tuesday and Friday. So I apologize for getting a little bit behind, but we're getting caught back up. So thanks guys for your patience. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one.